What's up, guys? Barry Gaming here, back with some more Idle Heroes, and today for December 2023 we're going to be updating our first E5 heroes to build tier list because, well, we're going to be starting a brand new free-to-play series. There's a lot of new players in the game. Not much has changed since our last first E5. Like, let me actually take a look. The last time we did a tier list for first E5 heroes was probably back last year, and I think we did something very similar, trying to update it for newer heroes that are relevant. However, a lot of the newest heroes in the past year, oh, they're really not that good. So let's go through this list for people who are interested. We're gonna make a list of all the heroes you could potentially use as first E5 heroes and talk about why they are good and or bad. Now, one thing that gets updated in this list here is Shia. For a while there, Shia was pretty good because she could get Sealand 20 done, and then going for a Sword Flash Shia wasn't a bad strategy. Nowadays, going for Sword Flash Shia is a very bad strategy. Please don't do it. It's not really worth it. Along with that is Cthugha. Cthugha has fallen off so much more than other heroes in this list. He used to be actually one of the best out there because he has a self-heal. He deals damage even when he's not attacking. He was actually sometimes better when he didn't attack and was CC'd. Nowadays, he's just not even a consideration on this list. You can't even, I think, put him in a home on Tenant Island or anything, so that's why he's way down there. Now, Penny is still a decent pick as far as first E5 heroes. You're gonna have some struggles with her in certain game modes. She's like, okay, as you guys have seen, we've seen a couple people's accounts actually take Penny accounts all the way up to Origin 5, even though they don't get any type of sublimations with trees, and she actually does pretty well, all things considering. It's just when you compare it to the best of the best, she's still good, but nowhere near the best. Now, as far as easiest heroes to build as your first E5, definitely Garuda, because they just throw copies at you constantly in this game. The whole level up system is amazing. They give you 5 Garuda copies right off the bat to take her to 10 star. While it's not the best strategy, it is a valid strategy for the time being until you can get your hands on enough hero copies of another, like Eloise, that you can then swap to. Is she horrible? No. Is she great? No. Is she middle of the road but still easy to build? Yes, which is why I'm going to keep her up in the A tier. Next up is Delium, another one we used to rank very high. Very much fallen off. Doesn't really have much synergy with any of the heroes you want to build on your account nowadays. I would highly suggest against it. Next up we have Iquo. Still one of the best PvE damage dealers in the game. However, she does suffer in quite a few game modes because she only attacks the single target. She goes for the lowest HP target. Early game PvP is the worst experience you'll ever have with this hero. However, if you just really love the hero, she's okay to build. Are there better options? Absolutely. One of them being Ticks. Same shadow faction. Ticks still really good in the early game. You're at the very least going to want a 10-star Ticks on your account to do certain things like Tower of Oblivion, getting you completely cleared out, because even if you pick an Eloise or Penny or something like that on your account, a 10-star Ticks with an energy artifact is going to completely wreck the faces of the enemies out there. So definitely keep that in mind. It is something you want to be aware of. He can do good as a first E5, but again, not as good as Penny and not as good as some other heroes out there. Another one, we actually seem to be filling up this list, I feel like, of... it actually makes me want to put Garuda down a little bit on this list. In reality, I'm going to bump Inosi now. So Inosi used to be at one point one of the top heroes to build as your first E5 hero, but considering he does fall off pretty hard, I would say there are better options. Plus, he's not even really used as a tenant for any useful heroes moving forward on your account, even if you do transition away once you get some Transcendence heroes. He just doesn't really have that much bang anymore, and he's okay. He's okay. He's a solid pick if you want to go for the Forge faction. Penny, however, is just the better option out of the two. And you guys will notice most of these heroes are still old school heroes from pre-Transcendence Heroes days. Yeah, there's a reason for that, because newest heroes lately have been bad. Another one is Morax. He can do Sealand 20. We literally built him, I think, way back on the Royalty meme team. So we have first E5 hero Morax experience. It was not a fun thing. His basic attack essentially does nothing. The only way you can build him is to make him get low HP to do more damage, but it's really risky doing that. It's just not something you want to do. The tippy top of this list is Eloise. Even to this day, Eloise is still the most overpowered first hero you can ever build on an account. If you're wondering what hero you should go with, this is the hero right here. Eloise is the strongest hero, can literally get Sealand 20 done with like an E3 copy, not even E5. The zero stellar shard, zero anything. She's going to be the first hero you want even when you have your first transcendence hero. That transcendence hero is only going to be a support hero for Eloise, who has the main household on Cloud Island, if that's a little confusing. We'll be going more into that in the future, so don't worry about that. But yeah, just really really strong. The next one I'm going to be putting down in the C tier as well is Waldeck. I know people have had some luck with him in the first E5 here. I don't think he's any good. If you notice anything, the Abyss faction is really not that great for first E5 heroes. So just keep that in mind. If Abyss is your favorite, you might want to focus on Abyss down the road and not at the very beginning. The next one is worth talking about, and that is Holmes Young. Holmes Young is probably the second best hero to build as first E5 hero, although he does have some glaring weaknesses compared to Eloise, which is why I don't put him in the S tier. Literally, S tier is like above everything else. A tier are like really good heroes. Holmes Young has some really good CC. His damage actually isn't that bad, even in PvE scenarios. He has the ability to dub and CC enemies as a way to heal. He's still pretty good. Probably one of the second or third best Sealand solo killers. He does suffer in some other locations though, things like Tower of Oblivion. It does become a little bit of struggle for him and things like that, so keep that in mind. The only other hero I'm even putting on this list is going to be Betty. So out of all the new heroes that have come out, Betty feels like the only one that's even worth mentioning in this list. G-Ster doesn't, Gaggy doesn't. Like all these heroes we've tested in the past year have been complete flops, because there's been what, 6 or 7 new heroes. Almost all of them except Betty hasn't been great, and that's only because if you're a very fringe account and you're probably going to spend a bit, going for Betty as your first E5 hero isn't horrible, because she can get Sealand 20 done. And then if you are spending, you can get a first Transcendence hero really quickly. And going for Betty isn't that bad. It's actually a decent strategy nowadays, especially if you're going to get a Noble Core on her right away. You guys will see an extreme situation very soon on our Betty series of how fast they can scale up. But currently, it's still a very valid strategy. I mean, she's also a shadow hero. You know, it's one thing that's really good on this list. Shadow heroes, Eloise, Tix, Betty, Iquo, they're all like really strong, and I think to this day this tier list still kind of holds up true. To be fair, I would not consider anything B tier or below nowadays. We're listing them simply because people are used to seeing them and talking about them as first E5, but I really don't think you guys should do that at all. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Let me know what you guys think. I'm excited to start the free-to-play series up very soon. I'll let you guys know what server and when we're starting that as well if you guys want to play along. I'll see you guys next time.